Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. MC-Mura here, and in today's video I'm going to talk all about Kolin and how you can use her in the 5th season of Street Fighter V. So let us get started. Kolin is a really good footsies character who excels from the mid-range. She has some of the best pokes in the game and possibly the best with punish tools in the game as well. She has excellent mobility thanks to her forward and backdash. Her vanity step special allow her to alter her spacing and positioning in a moment, and when she activates her V-trigger too, her mobility is enhanced even further and her punch normal are also improved significantly. Now, not only that, she is also a read and set play heavy character. Her counters not only deal impressive damage, but they also lead to some devastating setups thanks to her Hailstorm special, which is an excellent trapping special which is incredibly useful for set play. However, her main weaknesses is basically fireball zoning, as her main anti-projectiles tool are either locked behind her vanity step special or they are locked behind her V-trigger too, and they are all really punishable on block. So now we are going to talk about Kolin's normal like we always do. Gonna start with the lights, specifically the crouching jab. Her crouching jab or crouching light punch is her 3-frame attack. 3-frame is the fastest a move can be, a normal can be in Street Fighter V. So having this 3-frame by itself is really good. And her 3-frame in particular is very strong because it combos into itself. It combos into itself then into EX Parabellum, which is her main launcher attack. It combos regularly into her standing light punch, which is excellent for combos, and it combos on counter hit to crouching medium. This is important because this means that let's set up a scenario where Ryu is trying to attack us. I'm gonna try to interrupt him, and as usual, if 3-frame is my fastest move, it is my best option for interruption, right? So now I'm gonna try to interrupt Ryu. As you can see, I was able to stop him, and because it counter hit combos to the crouching medium, I will be getting good punishes here. So as you can see, her 3-frame can combo to the crouching medium, and then you get good damage out of that. So as a 3-frame, as an interruption, it is really good. Also on block, this can lead to, take grabs, because after it's blocked, you're still in throw range. So you can do something like this and throw them after. So crouching light punch and then throw is a really powerful sequence. Overall, it's a very good normal. I would recommend using it a lot. Now, the second normal I wanted to talk about is her standing light punch. This is 4 frames, so it is not +3, it's not a 3-frame like the other one, but as you can see, it have a lot more range. Standing jab have a lot more range. The range is actually really nice for a 4-framer, and it is also really good on block, because on block you can throw after as well. You even have more frame advantage because you are +2. This is only +1. As you can see, +1 only. The standing light punch is +2, so it's even better on block as a throw tech. But this also have really good functionality as well. First of all, being a 4-frame attack with that much range means that it is a decent punish. So for example, if Ryu did something really unsafe like that string, crouching medium into fireball, you will be able to get your standing light punch and then get decent punishes. As you can see, because of its range, it will be a good punish. This also is very important for Kolin because it have a target combo attached to it. The target combo is light punch, medium punch, heavy punch. Light punch, medium punch, heavy punch. So you can do crouching jab into standing light punch. As you said, you can do crouching light punch into standing light punch and then complete this target combo. So you do crouching light into standing light and then standing medium and then standing heavy. So it goes like this, as you can see in my inputs on the left. And this can be cancelled into any specials, which is really good. You can cancel into even heavy parabellum and then continue the offense from there. So these two normals are really good, they are really strong, and they work together really well to cover multitudes of functions. The next one is her crouching light kick, and the crouching light kick have decent range for a 4. This is also 4 frame, by the way. The range is not the best. There are a lot better, crouching light kicks, but it's really good. It combos into her crouching jab, so you can get combos like that. It also can combo. You can do crouching light kick, crouching jab into EX parabellum. It is plus on block, which is not common for many crouching light kicks, and you can throw them afterwards, and you can even set up what they call the unmoving shimmy out of this. Unmoving shimmy is an example where your opponent will try to throw tech, but they will not be able to throw you. So if I do crouching light kick, Ryu will try to take a grab, but as you can see, I'm out of range, so then I can punish Ryu for it. So crouching light is really good for setting up shimmies actually. As you can see, if you wanna play a throw or shimmy game, crouching light kick is excellent for that. Overall, it's a kind of a generic crouching light kick, but it is really good, and you can use it for this functionality, or you can use it to tech throw as well. It's functional, it does its job, not the best normal ever, but it's pretty good. The final one is her standing light kick, and this is 5 frames, which is a little bit slow for a light, but the range is really good, as you can see, and this is a really good buffer. Buffer is when you do a move, like look at my input. I'm gonna do the light kick and then do the input for the EX parabellum. And what's gonna happen is, unless my standing light kick contacts my opponent, the parabellum will not come out. If it does, the parabellum will come out. And what makes this attack really good is catching forward movement. So for example, Ryu here will try to forward dash after blocking our hailstorm. Right, so if you are expecting that your opponent might move forward, standing light kick is a really good check. It's a move with low risk, low commitment, very little recovery, and you can buffer it safely into EX parabellum if your opponent moved forward. Overall, Kolin have very strong and solid light attacks. So now we are gonna talk about Kolin's medium attacks, and I'm gonna start with her crouching medium punch. This is your main combo starter because it combos into standing medium kick. It's really useful up close. If you're from a little bit of a distance, the medium kick might whiff. So then you can do crouching medium punch into standing light kick. Then you can cancel into parabellum, you can cancel into hail. There is a lot of options that you can do from that point. And this is also really nice on block, because if your opponent is blocking, for example, it's +2 on block, it is 6 frames and it is +2 on block, which is good and bad. The good part is that you can frame trap into the standing medium kick. And this is where it pretty much stops, because being 6 frames and +2 means that you cannot frame trap with it into itself against characters, especially who have 3 frame. So crouching medium punch twice doesn't work. You can do jab into crouching medium, you can do crouching jab into crouching medium. So it's hard to frame trap into the move. And the best attack that you can frame trap into it from the crouching medium is standing medium kick, which is negative. So if Ryu is blocking everything, if I do this, my turn ends, and I cannot do 2 crouching mediums, I cannot do jabs into crouching medium. So it is really good, but it is not as good as it seems. Many Kolin players love doing this, and this is extremely fake. This is extremely fake. I would highly recommend stop doing that. I would highly recommend stop doing that. What you want to do, what the really good Kolin players will do, is using her jabs for frame traps. So you get to do stuff like that, crouching jab into standing jab, or like standing jab into throw, standing jab into crouching medium. These are the really good frame traps, but if you are doing a lot of crouching medium, woke up crouching medium, you're gonna get interrupted. You're just gonna get interrupted by 3 frame. And on counter hit, if this move happened to land as a counter hit, it's actually really nice, because on counter hit you get to combo crouching heavy, and you get to combo standing medium punch, which is really good. So it is rewarding on counter hit, but again, please don't use it for woke up pressure like that, because it can get blown up if your opponent knows the matchup. Now, the follow-up attack I want to talk about is the standing medium punch, and standing medium punch is great. As you can see, this is a fantastic whiff punish tool. From long range like that, you can whiff punish into EX Parabellum and get really good damage. The range is fantastic on it as a whiff punish. It is also +2 on block, so if your opponent here is blocking, this is +2, which is really nice. It means that you get to keep your turn. And it's also really good if they are sitting still and blocking. It is really good to use it and cancel into the EX Hailstorm. So you can do something like this, for example, walk up and then or dash and then throw them again when you are plus. It's an attack that I like to use a lot, honestly. The crouching medium is a very strong attack in my opinion. One of her best tools by far, and I think it's a really underrated normal overall. The next attack I want to talk about is the crouching medium kick, and this have a lot of functionality. As you can see, this is a poke, which is really good. It's a low poke, and most of the low pokes like it are negative on block. This, however, is +1, which is really fantastic. Being plus means that, let's say our opponent will try to poke back, my standing light kick will interrupt. So you're gonna see a lot of Kolin players doing this, crouching medium kick into standing light kick, because this is from if Ray is space probably, this will beat most pokes. It's really good. So using it and then buffering into standing light is very strong, and you can also use it to set up, whiff punish scenarios. So for example, Ryu is gonna whiff here, and then I'm gonna whiff punish him with my standing medium punch. So it is very good in that regard. It's also really good as a V-trigger fishing tool. So for example, if I want to activate my V-trigger, crouching medium punch into activation is really good. On normal hit, you can then combo a standing medium punch. On counter hit, you can combo a standing heavy punch. So look at how far this is gonna combo. It's excellent. It's honestly excellent. You're talking about a low poke with that much range that you can then combo into standing heavy punch and get really good conversions. So it is very good as a fishing tool for V-trigger. It is also super cancelable, by the way, but it is not hit confirmable into super. I don't believe that you can hit confirm the crouching medium kick by itself into super, because the cancel window is quite short. So it is there, it is something, but I don't believe it's confirmable, honestly, and I wouldn't recommend doing it a lot. If you happen to have V-trigger 1, of course, obviously it is really good for the initial activation, but it's also really good for the second activation as well. You can hit confirm into this, so it is really good in that regard. And finally, if you happen to land this as a counter hit, it's gonna be +5. Remember that we said that crouching medium kick into standing light kick is really good on block. Well, guess what? It is also really good on hit, because it's gonna combo, which means that then you will get combos like these, which is excellent, honestly. Not many characters can get that much out of a crouching medium kick poke. So crouching medium kick is fantastic all around for Kolin. The final normal I want to talk about is the standing medium kick. A standing medium kick for Kolin is 5 frames. Having a medium that is 5 frame in general is really important. It's really good, but it is not a pressure normal, because as you can see it is -2 on block, so you can't use it for pressure. But the main use of this is the V skill or the target combo that is attached to it. Kolin is a character who have a very strong V trigger. Her V trigger 2 is one of the better V triggers in the game, and Kolin have good ways of comboing into her V skill thanks to this target combo. It's medium kick, heavy punch, V skill. So it is medium kick, heavy punch, V skill. This is really important, and remember that standing medium kick will combo from her crouching medium punch. So you can do crouching medium punch into the target combo. This is important because, like I said, it means that she have a reliable way of building her V gauge. This target combo is not only really good for building V gauge, it's also really good for V trigger activation. if you're using V-Trigger 1. If you're using V-Trigger 2, you can still get some really good conversions here. And even on block, you will activate interface and you will be plus so much, which will then set up a wave punish or a shimmy game. So for example, if Ryu here is trying to throw us after, you can get a shimmy like that. So it is a very important normal for a V-Trigger activation, and also you can use it in a very good way on activating from certain setups. Like for example, one of the better ways to activate V-Trigger 2 with Kolin is off of resets. So when you do the EX Parabellum, you can then do the medium kick vanity into the medium kick. And this can be used to activate V-Trigger, which will set up a really nasty 50-50 situation, as you can see. So overall, it is moves that have a lot of functionality, not on pressure, but in V-Trigger activation, in combos, and mostly for hit confirming and activating into V-Trigger. The final medium that Kolin have is command normal, and that is her forward medium kick. It is this overhead. This overhead is really good and kinda whack. The reason that this is kinda whack is because I believe honestly that it is telegraphed. It is the animation is very obvious. It moves her forward a lot, so it is really punishable if your opponent block it. You're almost gonna be end up in their face. So in that sense, it is kinda whack, but it does have good range, which is nice. As you can see, the range is nice. And one of the main benefits of this overhead is that you can actually combo after it on counter hit. And this is very good. Because it hits twice, it is very easy to react to the counter hit. As you can see, she is gonna be +3. So then you can combo a crouching jab and it's gonna be 3 hits. So then you can combo into EX Parabellum and get some really good combos, as you just see. And there are even setups that you can do to get this to combo. So for example, you can do setups like that one. Gonna be +5, which means that let's remove counter hit and make him wake up with a jab. Yeah. Now he's waking up with a jab. So you can do setups like the one I'm gonna show you now, which will allow you to combo after this. As you can see, so there are some set play here that you can use with the overhead. It's a decent overhead, a little bit telegraphed, but if you happen to land it as a counter hit or land it in some setup, it can lead to some really good rewards. And now we are going to talk about Kolin's heavy attacks, and I'm gonna start with the best heavy one in my opinion, the standing heavy punch. This might be the best heavy punch in the game, in my opinion. This attack is 8 frames startup, which is really quick for a heavy. It have nice range, as you can see. It hits mid, so even if they are crouching, they're gonna get hit by this. It is special cancelable, as you can see. It is a pretty good whiff punish attack, so if Bison here is trying to whiff something, you can whiff punish with it. And Bison standing medium kick is actually a really hard attack to whiff punish, so whiff punishing it is really good. On block it is only -4, but look at the pushback, it's kinda hard to punish it from this distance. On hit it leads to a crush counter, as we said, and when it hits as a crush counter, the cancel window becomes gigantic. So you can cancel into the EX Parabellum or heavy Parabellum really late and still get a conversion, or you can cancel into the EX medium vanity and get really good conversions as well. So either a Parabellum or the medium vanity step and getting big ass combos, which is really nice. Now, if all of this wasn't enough, there is even a lot more. It is +5 when up close, so even if you manage to hit it up close and you didn't hit confirm, being +5 means that you can link a standing light kick, which means that you can then extend your combos. But this is just the icing on the cake. The real shit starts when you activate the V-Trigger. This normal transforms to becoming like S tier, like this alone. Kolin's V-Trigger to me is this normal. Because this is an 8 frames mid-hitting crush counter attack with gigantic range, and if it happened to hit as a crush counter, you are gonna eat a ton of damage. So for example, if this happened at crush counter, she can combo something into this, and if she have super, you're gonna eat a ton of damage. And all of the properties we mentioned earlier still apply. This move become an absolute nightmare. So my opinion is to use the hell out of this attack. It's excellent in every way possible. You know, potentially busted. It is pretty hard to whiff punish. It is very hard to block punish unless you do it from an awful spacing. Superb attack. This is a good shit. Now let's then talk about the other one, and that is her crouching heavy punch. Crouching heavy punch is gonna be her main normal anti-air. This is good in some regards because it's decent as hitting jumping in front of her, but as you just saw, it is kinda decent at best. It's not fantastic. It can lose, it can trade if done early. From some angles, it is not that good, but it is decent at jumps in front of her. The issue with the crouching heavy punch is that it is bad at jumps that are directly above her head. So as you can see, attack like this cross up, she will not be able to hit him out of this. And then depending on the timing, he might even hit you cross up. So if they are jumping really close or above your head, crouching heavy is not that good as an anti-air. You then have to jump back air throw or jump back medium punch. There are some answers here, but crouching heavy punch is not them, right? Maybe even go for an air parry. There are options, but this is for jump-ins from the front only, right? And of course, it counter hit combos from her crouching medium. So you can use it in some combos like that, but the main use is gonna be for anti-airs. Now let's then talk about the heavy kicks, and she has 3 heavy kick. One is back heavy kick. This is a command normal, and this is one of the better crush counter pokes in the game. As you can see, the range is gigantic on that one, so this is very good. And this is also super cancelable, so if you can actually hit confirm this into super and then get really big damage. On block it is -2, which is fantastic given its range. Like, look at how far this is hitting from. Absolutely fantastic from range. It recovers really fast. It is very hard to whiff punish. This attack is actually very hard to whiff punish, but it is jumpable. If your opponent is jumping in on you, you can jump over that and punish you. So if you like abusing it like that, you might get jumped on. But honestly, I might still be able to anti-air him here with something like the EX counter. So it is a pretty really strong attack, and if you happen to land it as a crush counter, as we said earlier, you do get good Oki here. You will get to dash into Oki. So if he even quick rises, you will dash up and you will be +2, which means that you will be able to get immunity. So it is a very good poke. It's a very good poke in the neutral from this range. It's gonna be one of your main tools. Crouching medium kick, standing light kick, standing medium punch for whiff punishment, standing heavy punch for bullshit, and back heavy punch for poking. These are the main neutral tools for Kolin. Now the next one I want to talk about is the standing heavy kick, and I love this kick. I love this attack. Like, honest to God, the main reason I love Kolin is this standing heavy kick. This is the most satisfying move in the game, because one of the cool things about it is it have a different animation on hit and on block. So on block, as you can see, she will continue her rotation, and on hit she will just hit you and her leg will drop down normally. So it just feels very satisfying, and it have an amazing oomph to it that just makes it such a satisfying move to land. It is gonna be used a lot for crush countering. So for example, if your opponent did something that is punishable by crush counter, you can do it, dash up, and then get a target combo, light, medium, heavy target combo after. If you happen to land a jump in, this is gonna be your main, the highest damage combo. You can do something like this. So it does have a utility as a crush counter, it does have a utility as a maximum damage tool, punishing. Maybe you can use it to bait, if your opponent tries to throw tech. It's a really nice attack overall, and it just feels so satisfying. And that's why I really love it. The final one is the sweep, and her sweep is a little bit short. It hits twice, as you can see, and both hits are actually crush counters. But what's really kind of nice about this is that the first hit is special cancelable. So you can cancel the first hit into specials. This is mostly gonna be used for V-trigger activation, and it's gonna be used in some juggles after EX Parabellum. You are gonna juggle with it, either that or maybe juggle with it into medium punch Parabellum. This is a very common, Kolin combo. Overall, her heavies are fantastic. Heavy punch is god tier. Heavy kick, back heavy kick is amazing. Standing heavy kick might be the most satisfying move ever. Colleen overall have very nice suite of normals, which allow her to play her game plan really well. And now I wanted to talk about Colleen's air normals, her air mobility, and her V skills. And let's start first talking about the notable air normals. The first one is the jumping light kick. This is her cross-up attack. So you are gonna do some basic combos out of it. It is always good to have a cross-up, so she has that covered with her jumping light kick. It's also a decent air-to-air actually. If your opponent is jumping in on you, it's very fast, so it does have a good tendency to win. This is something that out of observation I noticed during my playtime with Colleen. The other notable jumping normal is her jumping medium kick. This is pretty good for far range jumps because as you can see the hitbox is kinda big and you can get some decent conversions out of it. So the jumping light is a cross up, jumping medium is for jumping from the front. The third notable normal is her jumping heavy kick. And jumping heavy kick is very unique because it hits directly beneath Colleen. So what this means that if you are directly above your opponent's head, the jumping heavy kick will hit. So as you can see, if I'm on this red line, I will hit Bison here. And this can set up some really interesting situations because for example, from this spacing, I can hit him with the jumping heavy kick, while if I delay my jump in a little bit, I can hit him with the cross up. So if I'm on the same line, I'm on the line here, jumping heavy kick is hitting, while also in the same spacing, I can get the cross up. So I can get the cross up or I can get the jumping front because the jumping heavy kick hits directly beneath her. Your air timing is gonna change if you are hitting from the front or from the back, which is really good. It can lead to some very ambiguous jump-ins. The other air normal I want to talk about is her jumping medium punch. This is good for air to airs. If your opponent is jumping in at you and you are on the ground, like that, the angle is good. So this is gonna be good versus attacks like Akuma's Fireball, Vega's, wall jump. Against that style of attack, the jumping medium is a pretty good attack. Other one, of course, is her jumping air grab or the air grab. The air grab is important because, as we know, crouching heavy is her main anti-air, but this doesn't hit above her head. So if Bison is jumping for a cross-up from an angle like that, he will hit us. So your anti-air will be to jump air grab him. It's really good for that actually, because the startup is quite quick. But there is some downsides to this, because if you happen to land this, you don't get good Oki after it. So if you dash up, you are gonna be -3. So if your opponent wakes up with a 3 frame, so let's here set Bison to waking up with a 3 frame. If I try to dash in, he will punish me. So you don't get fantastic Oki after it, but it is a good anti-air option. And of course you can combo into it from the heavy, or the EX Parabellum into the heavy step. The final thing that she have is the double jump. And the double jump you will use if you are jumping in neutral jump or a forward jump. What you do is down plus medium kick at the apex of the jump. So at the apex of the jump, down plus medium kick, and you will double jump. This is important if you are full screen and you want to get a jump in, or if you are cornered and you want to jump out. You're pretty much not going to be using this for any other situations. Now let's then talk about her V skills. Colleen have two really interesting and different V skills. Her first one is this slash. And this attack is very interesting because By itself, it doesn't seem like it's something that is so special. It is +2 on hit, so you don't get much after. But it have a very interesting property in that it have a built-in parry window. So this will beat physical attacks after frame 8. So after frame 8, it will beat physical attacks. So if Bison is doing something like a standing medium kick, you can use your V skill and it will absolutely beat it. This does not beat projectiles, however, so if Bison is doing something like his Psycho Axe or Psycho Ball, you will lose. So keep that in mind. This works only against physical attacks. So the first use is what you're just seeing. It is a really good move to throw out in the neutral because it will beat your opponent pokes. It will make them scared of throwing out normals against Kolin because she does get actually a pretty good knockdown out of this. You will dash up and you can meet your opponent. So she does get a good knockdown out of that. So the first use is to use it in the neutral to scare them from throwing out normals, which is very, very strong for a character like Kolin. The second use is to use it as an anti-air. It's the same idea. Pretty good, pretty reliable. Now, of course, this carries some risks because this attack is unsafe on block. If this got blocked, it's gonna be -8, and depending on the character, they can punish you or not. Someone like Bison will almost punish you every single time. But against some characters, you might be able to space it to make it safe-ish or like a whiff trap. But it is pretty hard, honestly. It's a pretty unsafe attack to throw out, but it is important for her because it makes your opponent scared of throwing out normals against Kolin. The other functionality of this is, of course, in the target combo, medium kick, heavy punch, V skill. Because on hit, like we said earlier, you can use this, give you good Oki, and you get to, build your V gauge. It's a decent V trigger activation. On block as well. And of course, lastly but not the least, you can if you are in V trigger 2, you can combo it into the V trigger special and do a decent amount of damage. Combo it into the Sulfur Edge and get good knockdown, good damage, and good corner carry. One final thing about this V skill is that it also can, if it happened to land as a counter hit, it's gonna be +4, which means that you can land a target combo after it, or at least a crouching jab. So as you can see, if this happened to land as a counter hit, even if you hit your opponent during startup, like for example, Bison here will try to do the EX Psycho Ball, and I'm gonna try to hit him during startup. I might get a conversion like that, which is nice. It is good to have something like this. Overall, it's a pretty useful V skill, carries some risks. The target combo into the V skill is pretty nice. And yeah, it's pretty black and white, honestly. The second V skill is also really, really interesting. It's a command grab. So, a character like Kolin having a command grab is really dangerous because, of course, she has some good pressure, especially with the hail and all of that. So you can do some setups like that. It doesn't lead to Oki, so for example, if your opponent wakes up with a jab, you cannot dash after it or anything. You're honestly neutral, like you are neutral on block, so you can't even do anything at this point. If you dash or anything, like they can do whatever they want at this point. It doesn't lead to Oki. You don't get follow-ups after this. So after it hits, it resets the neutral. One of the better things about it though is that it puts them in the freezing state, and the freezing state is unique to Kolin and Gil. What it does is, as you are noticing above, his stun bar is not decreasing. So usually when you attack someone, like let's say for example I'm hitting Bison here, let's do a combo like that, and when we reset the neutral, if he's not under pressure for a while, his stun bar will go down. But the strength of this V skill is that it denies that. So for example, let's hit him again. So now as you can see, his stun bar will not go down. This effect will not deplete until Bison hits me. And this is very, very strong. So basically you return in the neutral, your opponent cannot lame you out. They have to do something, they have to get off this ice effect, and you land one hit and it's done, which is very very strong. And as you notice, when they are freezing, their health is gradually going down. So if we have it here as stun on the next attack, usually when they are stunned, their health doesn't go down, but when they are freezing or when they are frozen, you will notice that their health is ticking down. So it is pretty good for that. You are doing added damage pretty much. So you can get something like this and then get it jumping into big combos. And of course, this V skill can also be comboed into, because you can do the target combo and then combo into the V skill, which is really really strong as well. But you don't get the V trigger activation, so if he's blocking, you don't get the V trigger activation like the other one. And when you are in V trigger, you don't get the benefit of the added, the added combo ability that the other one will do. So here we are doing 194. If I have V skill 1, I'm getting 250, so I'm doing a lot more damage. And out of a combo like that, I can even cancel into super, so you can even do more damage depending on how much you want to spend. Overall, both of them are really good V skills. They are not amazing, they are not the best V skills in the game. I will say that V skill 1 is probably better overall, because the command grab with V skill 2, it's good for Kolin to have a command grab, but it is reactable. Your opponent can actually react to it if they know the matchup. And like we said earlier, her mediums, actually the frame trap with the crouching medium, is not as good as they seem. So overall, my honest preference is V skill 1, but you cannot go wrong with either. And now let us talk about Kolin's throw game and her special moves. And usually I don't talk about throws in character guides, but Kolin is a special case because throwing is a big part of Kolin's gameplay. Her normal throw and her back throw are both really good. When you throw your opponent with Kolin, even in mid-screen, they are standing relatively close to you. And this means that you can then move up and throw them again. It's kinda quick, it happens really fast, there is not that much separation, so Kolin does have a good throw mid-screen. Most characters will not have okay mid-screen, they cannot pressure you afterwards, but Kolin absolutely can. So if our opponent tries to wake up, say, with a normal, yeah, we will not be able to throw him, right? But check out what happens. If I do my heavy punch, I get a crush counter. So your opponent will be afraid to wake up with normals because they are gonna eat a ton of damage. Like that was almost 300 damage because they tried to wake up with a normal. So then they might try to backdash, which is a valid wake up option. So for example, here we're gonna throw them, they're gonna try to backdash, and we are gonna do the heavy punch again. As you see, we will hit them grounded before they try to backdash. This means that your opponent will either try to walk back or they will try to stand block, for example. So then you can get to do stuff like crouching medium kick. Even if they try to backdash and wake up, this will hit them. So Kolin have a really oppressive throw game mid-screen, and even if they then try to tick, like the final option is that they will try to tick, right? If they try to tick, you can then shimmy them with your standing heavy punch, and you get to do massive damage. So her throw game mid-screen is very powerful, and you have to use it all the time. It is amazing. Kolin have an excellent throw game. Her back throw is not very different. It is a little bit weaker, but you know, instead of using your standing heavy punch, you will use your back heavy kick. This will pretty much hit them if they try to wake up with normals. It will hit them if they try to backdash. You know, you get the idea. It's basically the same thing. Let's time this right, and you will hit them out of it. So throwing is a big part of Kolin's gameplay and you have to use it a lot. Now let's then talk about her special attacks, and Kolin special attacks are, she have a lot of them, there is a lot of variety here, but I'm gonna talk to you about each of them and how you should use them. The first one and the most obvious is the Parabellum special. It is done by doing a fireball motion and punch. There are obviously, like every other special attack, there are three versions: the light, the medium, and the heavy. And notice that they are all unsafe. So the lights are -4, the mediums are -6, and the heavy are -12. These attacks are combo attacks for the most part. I feel like the heavy is -9, it's not -12. So these are combo attacks. You can kinda use the lights in situations like this, but for the most part, Parabellum is attacks that you wanna combo into. So you wanna do like jab into light Parabellum, or like medium punch into medium Parabellum. Typically, if you are shaking with light kick, you are gonna cancel into light Parabellum. Medium Parabellum is gonna be used in juggles, because in this situation, you're gonna use the medium, at the juggle at the end, I mean. So the medium is gonna be used for juggle, light is gonna be used for combos from light attacks and light checks. Heavy is gonna be used for when you wanna special cancel out of your target combo. For example, if you're doing something like this, light, medium, heavy, then you combo into heavy punch Parabellum. This will knock down, so that's really good because you get Oki here. You're gonna get to dash and throw your opponent. Of course, you can also super cancel out of this on the last hit, so the cancel window is gigantic. Typically, Parabellum is a combo attack, and you can use it, of course, to whiff punish. For example, if you whiff punish something, you then combo into like heavy Parabellum or EX. And EX Parabellum is a launcher. So when you do EX Parabellum, the final hit will launch your opponent, and you can special cancel this last hit. So when I'm doing the EX Parabellum, I can import quarter circle backward and kick, and it will cancel into her vanity steps. I can import a Shoryuken with punch, and that will do her hail special. Basically, you can cancel the final hit of her EX Parabellum into any other special, right? This is mostly used to combo into the heavy kick vanity, because you then get to cancel into the EX vanity and then cancel into an air grab. So it looks like something like this. I'm gonna cancel the last hit into the heavy vanity, as you just seen, and then when I'm in the air, I'm gonna do throw, and this will air grab my opponent for a combo. This is a very classic Kolin combo. Of course, you can do other things like doing the medium vanity step and then sweep for a juggle. The first hit of the sweep is special cancelable, so then you can do something like this. These are pretty much how you should use the EX Parabellum. And of course, it is really good for wave punishment, as we said, because it moves Kolin forward by a lot. So even from a big distance like that, it is, I will say, reliable enough to use in combos. So these are combos attack for the most part. Now, the next special I want to talk about is the Vanity Steps. Vanity Step is a special move that is quite interesting. Again, like each of the other one, it have a light, medium, heavy, and EX, and this one have multiple EXs, but we will get to that later. The light Vanity Step, Kolin will just take the step back. It's kind of like an alternate back dash, right? She is doing this back sway or back step. And if you press a punch, she will fly back at her opponent with this move called the Silver Edge. So quarter circle back plus kick, she will just do this step, and if you press punch, regardless of which punch it is, Kolin will launch forward at her opponent. And this have projectile invincibility. So for example, if Akuma here is throwing fireball at us, this will go through fireball, as you see. The range isn't fantastic, so from here it will not reach him. As you can see, you have to use it up close. The regular Silver Edge, or this attack in general, is not that strong. So using this for fireball invincibility is typically not that good. The medium Vanity Step is a lot different though. The medium Vanity Step, Kolin will backdash and then start immediately sliding forward. So she will take the back step and then automatically slide forward. And as she is moving forward, you can enter any normal you want. So for example, you can do something like this crouching medium kick, crouching lights, standing heavy punch, anything you want. You can do whatever normal attack you want out of this. And these have there's a lot of target combos that are associated with this. So for example, as she is moving forward, you can do crouching light kick into crouching heavy punch, and this will launch your opponent. You can do crouching medium punch into crouching heavy punch, or crouching medium punch into standing heavy punch, and it's gonna do this string. And they all have different properties. This for example is +5 on hit, so you then can go a medium punch after it if you're close enough, so you can get something like this. Do the medium kick target combo. You can do the medium kick vanity step and then do the crouching jab into crouching heavy punch. This is safe on block, by the way, so if your opponent blocks this one, she's -2, and on hit you get a big launcher like you just seen, which then you might reset your opponent after. It's really good, especially in V-Trigger 2. So the medium kick vanity step is quite useful. I would say it is really useful, but it doesn't have invincibility. So for example, if Akuma is throwing like a fireball at us, she will just run into it, right? As she is moving forward, she's not invincible in any way. The only one with invincibility is light to the silver edge, but the medium is not invincible. The heavy is the same concept, but Kolin will jump forward. This is an alternate version of her medium one, which is alright. I mean, you do get an interesting, almost full screen jump, so this could be used, but of course it's slow, it's really slow, so your opponent can react to it. The vanity steps are important part of Kolin's gameplay because they allow her to have such unique mobility. Because as she is moving backward, your opponent doesn't know which one you're doing. So for example, you can move backward and just, maintain your space. You can move backward and then rush forward from the air. So they are really useful in that aspect. And as we said earlier, this move has 3 EX versions. Each one of them have a use, and each one of them is really good. The first one is the EX light and medium, and when you press the EX light and medium, you get a version that is like her medium punch or light kick version. So for example, when I do light and medium, I'm getting the EX version. If I press punch again, Kolin will lunge forward, as you're seeing here. This is really good because this have invincibility as Kolin is moving backwards. So for example, if Akuma is doing a tatsu like that, as you can see, I will be able to move backwards and block. But what you have to know is that Kolin have invincibility as she is moving backwards only. When she is moving forward, so the back step itself, this first part, this is what is invincible. This is fully invincible. So your opponent cannot hit you out of this. When she's doing this first part, this is fully invincible. You can use this to escape attacks. But the launch afterwards is fireball invincible only. So the first part is fully invincible to strikes and fireballs. The launch is fireball only. This gives this move some really good applications. So for example, Akuma might do a string like that. It's typical Akuma doing standing medium punch to red fireball. Then you can counter it with your light medium kick EX vanity step, making it a really good attack to use versus fireballs. Even if he's doing his regular fireball, I will say the EX one is quite usable. You can use it in this state. It's really good. The medium or the medium kick, the EX medium version is done by pressing light kick and heavy kick. So you do quarter circle back, light kick and heavy kick, and Kolin will do it. If you notice, it's a lot faster than the other one. It's a lot faster, and it's also have projectile invincibility. So if Akuma is throwing fireball at us, she will go straight through it, which makes it really good. Because now, if you have a read, you can get big punishes, as you're just saying. But again, this doesn't have any invincibility if Kolin is moving forward. It only have fireball invincibility. So if you're moving forward into an attack, you're gonna get hit. But this is still really good. You can use it obviously in combos, and you can convert into big damage if you use this, especially with her standing heavy punch. So standing heavy punch usually sends them back. The things that you can get is a parabellum, right? But if you can combo into the medium kick EX vanity step, you can then do the target combo we talked about earlier out of it, which is crouching medium into standing heavy. So you do this. Now you are +5, and when you are +5, you can then combo a medium kick. So it looks something like this. And that is a really good and big conversion. So the medium EX parabellum is, or the medium EX vanity step is really useful, really good attack. And of course, one thing that's really cool about it is that it's an excellent attack for surprising your opponent, and excellent for honestly tech grabs even. Like a lot of people will not try to tech after this because they are kind of it's a surprising attack, right? The final one is the heavy one. And the heavy is also really interesting because again, Kolin will launch back, or she'll do the back step and then launch forwards. And again, she's gonna launch from the air. What makes the heavy one really good is that you can kinda pilot how far she goes. So for example, if I'm holding back, she will stay in front. If I'm holding forward, she will jump right over him. So look, this was a cross up. This was from the front. Front again. You can kind of toss around with this. You have a lot of mobility options. And also, like we just said earlier, again, the first part have invincibility. So you can do something like this. This is particularly good for corner escapes, for example. If you're in the corner, you can use this and jump over them. So how a lot of people would use this attack. But I would say this is a decent get-in tool because the angle is quite aggressive, as you can see. The angle on the jump is quite aggressive, can be hard to deal with, can be hard to block. So it is a really good get-in tool, right? Of course it can be anti-air, but it is really good. Now after that, let us talk about her two other special moves, both of which are really good. The first one is the hail. The hail is done by pressing Shoryuken and punch, and it will drop this ice kill attack, right? This is the light one, the medium, and the heavy. And the strength of the version you are pressing will direct where the ice kill will hit. The light will be the closest to you, goes about half screen. Medium is about 3/4 of the screen, and heavy is almost full screen, right? It just changes the distance. This attack is excellent for trapping, and it's excellent for set play. So let's set up a following example. I'm gonna combo into this attack, right? The initial hit, like when she is raising his hand forward, this also is a hit. So if I'm doing my target combo, light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, I can then combo into the hail and she will hit them, as you are seeing. So for example, we can set up a situation where Akuma is waking up with a normal. Akuma is gonna wake up with his jab, right? So I can combo into my medium kick hail. He is trying to wake up with a normal. As you can see, he's trying to wake up with his 3 frame. But I am pushing him into the hail. For example, you do this and then dash twice. And then you get conversion. Basically, you have set up a situation where your opponent is forced to respect you. Say, we do this again, but dash twice. It will hit him as a counter hit, and then you get convert after. It can be used in other ways, like for example, you can do something like this. Gonna be the same concept. The hail will fall on him. Then you get to combo after it, even on a trade, because the hail have ridiculous plus frames. And this is basically how you wanna use this attack mostly. It's gonna be used for a lot of set play. And you can also use it in the neutral. The first part, when she is raising her hand, this will deplete one fireball. So if Akuma is throwing fireball at us, as you can see, it is deleting his fireball and you get to use your hail. But it is a little bit slow. So you can use it to gain some distance and get close to your opponent. It is a really nice attack. You can also use this in pressure. So for example, if you have your opponent, especially in the corner actually. So if we have them cornered, let's here switch sides. We have Akuma cornered. He is gonna try to interrupt us with his 3 frame. So he's gonna try to block and then press his 3 frame, right? You can do a block string into the hail. So I can do something like this. If you get interrupted, if your opponent hits you between the or before the hail drops, the hail will disappear. But this doesn't apply to V-Trigger 2 hail and EX hail. So for example, if I'm doing this with the EX version, it is gonna drop on his head anyways. So then you can get a follow-up. For example, it from some spacing like that. And I get to combo after it. As you can see. So you can set up some really strong situations. Even when you got cornered like that, you can just do the hail, you'll be on and you will have a lot of plus frames. It's a very good attack for trapping and very good attack for offense. The hail also has 3 EX versions, and just like the other one, light and medium will result in an enhanced light. Light and heavy will do an enhanced medium, and medium and heavy will do an enhanced heavy. And the hail in general is a very good special. It's a very good special. Now let's talk about the final special attacks that Kolins have, because you have quite a bunch. But the final one, and this one is a really big and important one for Kolin, it is her counters. Kolin have some really impressive counter attacks. When you press, it's done by doing a fireball back plus punch. Fireball back plus punch. The light, this will parry lows, this will parry mid, and this will parry high. The high doesn't mean that's attacks that hits high, it means that it's an attack that have your opponent airborne, basically. This one is versus airborne attacks. So for example, if Akuma is doing something like his Tatsu, this is the counter. The Tatsu of course is a mid, right? But because Akuma is airborne, you counter it with the heavy counter, right? If Akuma is doing, say, a normal on the ground, like this one, it seems like he's airborne, right? But he hits when he's on the ground, so you have to do the mid counter. It's kinda nonsense, I understand that it's kinda nonsense, but basically think about it that way. If your opponent is hitting you while he is in the air, you use the heavy one. If he is attacking you as he lands, it's gonna be the medium one. This is pretty much it. So for an attack like this one, you're gonna use the medium counter, and of course the light counter is the final one, and you can use the light counter to counter light. So for example, if Akuma is doing that, this is the low counter. This counter low attacks. So these in general are really good attacks, as you have just seen. The counters are amazing, not only because they have really fast startup, all of these are really fast, but they also deal some really high damage. So for example, if Akuma is doing the Tatsu again, like we're seeing, this does 180 damage, 250 stun. 180 damage, 250 stun, which is a ton. This is a lot of damage and stun. If we do the EX version, that is 240 damage, 300 stun. That is even more damage and stun than Zangief's EX SBD. Like, believe it or not, this does even more damage and stun than a Gief EX SBD. And you get to have insane set play afterwards. So let's, for example, talk about the set plays that you can get. Obviously, one thing that I need to say also is that just like all of the other ones, there are 3 EX moves. So this is a light one, the medium one, and the heavy one. And just like the other one, light plus medium will give you light, light plus heavy will give you medium, medium plus heavy will give you heavy. And the thing about her counters is that the EX counters are frame 1. So this can be used as a meaty. So for example, if Akuma knocked us down here, let's have him knock us down. So for example, Akuma will knock us down and then do a crouching heavy punch. So let's set this up again. The EX1 is a true reversal. Like this is a wake up. You can wake up from the ground with it, and it's a frame 1 parry. It will get out as soon as you press it, which is fantastic, right? The one thing about this parry though is that it has insane range. Like the range is actually quite retarded. So for example, Akuma's gonna do this. He's gonna jump into the heavy punch, right? Look at this. Look at how far, like, even if though his attack is not reaching me, right? Look at how far the counter moves Kolin forward. The hitbox is retarded on this counter. And you get amazing Oki. So for example, let's now talk about some of the set play. I'm gonna save this status. Right? So let's talk about some of the set play options that she can get. So after the setup, Kolin gets to do some insane, after the counter, Kolin have some insane setups. For example, now we will have Akuma try to wake up with a jab, right? So let's now roll back to the state that we saved. You get to do a setup like that, we hit him low, right? Hit him low and then you get a conversion. Now let us set up another scenario. We are gonna have Akuma try to just block. Now he's not gonna try to wake up with a normal, he is just gonna try to block. You can walk up and throw him, right? Another situation. He's just trying, let's for example say that he's gonna try to backdash. Or he's gonna try to throw us, right? Again, you can shimmy him in the situation and deal some massive damage. Let us have Akuma try to wake up with an EX DP. I believe this is a EX DP. Okay, so now Akuma's gonna try to wake up with the EX DP. He still can't even escape. So as you can see, this can lead to some devastating setups. And actually what I just showed you, I know it's kind of a tangent, but this is the best way to learn to do setups. You basically keep repeating the situation and getting used to it until you perfect your setup. So if you are just looking at Akuma's life bar, look at how much a simple setup like that is costing him. That was almost 50% of Akuma's health. That was even more than 50% of Akuma's health. So the EX counters are insane, and the thing about this is that it also plays a big part of Kolin's wake up game. If Kolin herself is knocked down on the ground, so let's then roll back to the situations that we were doing earlier, where Akuma was knocking us down. You can use the EX vanity step to escape, or you can use the counters. So this means that Kolin have a really scary wake up game. Her wake up game is actually really good, because you can do this, or if they try, you get right on the counter, you get to do some insane damage as you're seeing. Overall, Kolin's special attacks are all really nice. They are a bit unorthodox in how they are used, but they are very strong. Let's now discuss Kolin's V-Trigger, and I'm gonna start with V-Trigger 1. This is kinda like an honorable mention, because you are never gonna use it, because her V-Trigger 2 is absurdly good, but V-Trigger 1 is actually pretty nice. V-Trigger 1 is a 2-time use attack. It basically makes her do this, bunch of spikes on the ground of ice. Let's call it a projectile, the ice fireball or whatever. So this attack is actually really nice. As you can see, it does a good amount of damage and stun. This is like 360 stun, which is a lot. And you get to activate from any normal. So for example, if I do something like my back heavy kick, you get an amazing corner carry, and your opponent get put into the freezing state, so their stun will not deplete. And actually, like, it does so much stun that even a simple combo like that will actually stun your opponent. So you could actually stun your opponent in an attack and a combo. As you can see, then a combo like this one, and they're stunned. It does so much stun. 360 stun is no joke. So it is pretty decent in that regard. But overall, V-Trigger 2 is way too busted to bother with V-Trigger 1. But you know, it is alright, it is there. It does give you a lot of corner carry. You can combo a Silver Edge after it in the corner. Even the second hit, you can then dash up and do super. So for example, you can do this. Dash up and then combo into super. So it does have a lot of utility, it does do a lot of stun. It's honestly not a bad V-Trigger at all. Of course it is kinda weak to V-reversals and you have to hit confirm into it to get value, but it's not a bad V-Trigger. The issue with it is that V-Trigger 2 exists, and this V-Trigger is probably, it's either the second best V-Trigger in the game or the best V-Trigger in the game. Kolin's V-Trigger 2 is completely busted. Now, this V-Trigger does a lot. First of all, it gives her increased range in all of her punch normals. As you can see, there is this icicle effect on her hand. So this is like her new standing light punch. Look at how far it goes. Even the crouching jab goes a lot more. Like this is a 3 frame. For a 3 frame, the range is ridiculous. Her medium punch now have an absurd range. Standing heavy punch, this is 8 frame stardom and it has so much range. So all of her punch normals have increased range. The parabellums are the same thing, and the icicle attacks also are now much bigger. If you noticed, before they were a little tiny icicle, but now they are the size of a mountain and they are falling on your opponent. So the hitbox on the icicles is a lot bigger, which makes it even better for set play. And Kolin also gets this new slide. Basically, if you press forward and hold forward, she's gonna slide towards her opponent. This is similar to her forward movement out of the medium kick vanity. But you just do it all the time by pressing forward and holding forward. And this means that Kolin have a very easy, very quick way of closing the distance. You just dash forward, hold forward, it is very fast. It's very unlikely that your opponent will be able to react. And she have all of the target combos from the vanity steps in this one. So for example, the one we talked about earlier, the crouching medium into standing heavy, yeah, she has that, which is incredible. The one we talked about earlier, the crouching light into crouching heavy, she has that. And because of the icicle being so large, you actually get to do some devastating setups out of this. So you can do something like this. Let's set this up, right? Because the icicle is so big, you can special cancel into the light icicle, jab them to reset them, and then jump over them for an ambiguous setup. You can do it raw, or you can do it in a reset, as you can see, and then get amazing resets here. Even the icicle and the mobility with it. Like, let's talk about another example about why this icicle becomes so good. This is another example, a typical knockdown we talked about earlier, right? But now with this V-Trigger, you can actually do some crazy things. Like for example, I can do this. Now it's a cross-up, and you get to do really high damage combos. It is excellent, and you also get to have the Silver Edge attack, the one out of the vanity step. You get to have that all the time by just pressing V-Trigger. This can be done during the dash or regularly. So for example, before we said that we have issues with fireballs, but with this V-Trigger, what is a fireball? It's an instant reaction, and you can cancel it into super as well, which is incredible. And when you are dashing, you can also do it twice, and this is also super cancelable. So you can do the second hit, and out of the second hit, cancel into super. It is incredible. And lastly but not least, and this is the biggest one, and honestly the biggest effect I will say, is her normals. Her normals combined with the dash. So the standing heavy punch, this is typically a very dangerous special move, right? But it becomes our very dangerous normal. It's even a lot more dangerous because the range is extended by quite a bit, and because of the new dash, she gets a much bigger conversions. So for example, in this V-Trigger, she can now do something like this. She will dash into the target combo. That is 355 damage out of a meterless crush counter. Just let that sink in, right? So overall, this V-Trigger is always busted. It's kind of busted. Like, it takes everything that was good about Kolin and turn it into 11. Basically, and you actually get incredible combos out of that as well. Because now with the EX Parabellum, this can actually combo and you will get massive damage out of that. Then you can juggle the Silver Edge. That's crazy damage overall. This V-Trigger enhances Kolin so much. It makes her such a powerful character because the neutral becomes a nightmare. Her set play becomes very strong. Her damage output increased tremendously. The target combos that we were doing earlier, the medium punch, heavy punch V-skill, you can now do the Silver Edge afterward to get Oki. The crouching medium kick that we saw were a good poke can also be cancelled to the Silver Edge, which means that even her crouching medium kick is now leading to Oki. So it's just such a good V-Trigger that enhances the character in every way possible. And now finally I wanted to briefly talk about Kolin's super. Her super is done by doing 2 fireball forward motions and punch. It does about half screen launch attack or slash attack, and then will transition into a cinematic. You don't get Oki after, and the thing about Kolin is that her EX attacks are so good and are so important that you are not likely gonna be saving for super a lot. And in most cases, you can do more damage with her EX moves than you can do with her super, so the super is kinda weak in my opinion. It is 7th frame startups and it does have fireball or fully invincible of course, so you can kinda use it like to go under fireball if you're expected. It can be used as a hit confirm out of stand back heavy kick, which is nice. You can use it as a confirm out of crouching medium kick. This cannot be hit confirmed, but maybe if they whiff something and you whiff punish with a crouching medium kick, you can get this to combo. It will link after any of the parabellums, so then you can combo after it. Preferably you wanna do it after the heavy punch parabellum and after the last hit. And that's pretty much it for it. You can also use it after the Silver Edge special, so you went through a fireball and then you cancel into the special attack. So it is decent, but honestly, like we said earlier, the EX attacks are so good that you are not likely gonna be using this one a lot. And that is about it for Kolin. She's obviously a very, very strong, very good character. A character I like a lot, honestly, basically because of this. Honestly, this is my favorite as back in the game. So it is a character that I like a lot. She is a pretty strong character. A little bit unorthodox in how she plays, but that is why she's really fun. And I will be leaving you with an amazing combo video in the description, so if you want to check out her combos. I honestly decided to just share this one instead because it covers everything. It's really fantastic and I'm not gonna do anything better than it, honestly. So please check out the combo video in the description. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment, it helps the channel a ton. Thank you very much for watching and stay safe.